Welcome back to Apex Alchemy. Today in front of you, you see two Leatherman multi-tools. The multi-tool on the left is called the Sidekick. The multi-tool on the right is called the Surge. They're both great and they're both kind of wanting for different reasons in my opinion. Today I'd like to cover those opinions, go over the pros and the cons, and let's go ahead and start. The Leatherman Surge comes standard with a nylon case. It has a bit driver accessory holder on the side. It's pretty cheesy, but it is functional. The regular button snap, and inside you'll find a little bit of room where you can carry some accessories with you that you can buy aftermarket for the Surge. I think this is a pro. Meanwhile, the Leatherman Sidekick comes with a standard nylon sheath that is very much like the Surge sheath. It just doesn't have any pockets or any kind of accessories because there's nothing really that you can buy that's proprietary for the Leatherman Sidekick. So there's really no need for any extra space. So it's a no frills. Just gonna hold your multi-tool, and it's got a belt loop, as is the Surge model. Without further ado, let's jump into the Sidekick. The Sidekick has got spring-assisted pliers. We'll show you those in a second. This is with all the tools accessed except for the knives on the side. Find it easier to access those knives and show them off kind of by themselves. Yeah, it is possible to access them all like so. You just kind of need to be careful. Anyway, my favorite things about the Sidekick, absolutely, are the spring-assisted pliers, which are pretty much needle nose wire cutters. I don't know how many different kind of pliers they tell you that you have. I suppose 3. You probably have a wire cutter, regular pliers, or a lockjaw, and a needle nose. I personally look at this as one tool. You can definitely buy one tool that does all 3 of those, and you don't feel like you're going to Lowe's or wherever you get your tools, and you don't feel like you're buying 3 different tools. You're just buying a plier, right? The knife on the Leatherman Sidekick is accessible with your thumb, your right thumb. It is got a line and lock type of technology, so if you're into folding knives, this should become pretty natural for operation. On the other hand, the other knife, if you're left-handed, will come pretty natural to you, but it operates the same way. It's just mirrored. This is a saw, and I wouldn't say that it's the absolute best, saw, but at the same time, I don't find myself using it, so I don't want to be heavily critical of it yet. I do find the spring-assisted pliers to be very useful, especially when cutting wire or stripping wire. Rather, it's easier to hold a spot if you have a little bit of tension coming against you, but it's not impossible to strip wire with the wire strippers that don't have a spring assisted. It's just my personal preference, and that's kind of why I like having these around. In the closed position, I can't find hardly anything to complain about when it comes to hot spots on the Sidekick. The Sidekick is manufactured very smooth. The fit and finish is excellent. It's exactly what you'd expect from a $75 multi-tool. By the way, you can find these on the secondhand market for $30 to $40 if you don't mind buying one used. And I would probably highly suggest that you go that route. I did buy mine from Bass Pro Shop. I don't have any regrets, but I didn't know that you could pick them up from eBay all day long for $35-40. The internal tools, when they're not locking, and that's okay with me. They're like friction kind of lock. This side especially is fairly annoying. If you ever do want to get this lanyard hole out, it's kind of ironic that you almost need a pair of pliers to help out with that. And you have a pair of pliers here, but it can't help out with that. These tools are packed in here so tight. And honestly, I could have dealt without this blade. I could have dealt without that lanyard tube. That's just me. Personally, I don't care to have either one of these tools on the knife. On this side, you have the Phillips head screwdriver, and you have a flathead screwdriver / pry bar. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure how many tools they constitute this tool being, but I count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm not going to give that 3 points. 7. And then you got the 2 knives, making it a 9-tool, multi-tool. The cons, I would say, are that the internal tools might not be the most useful, but at the same time, they're usable. On the Leatherman Wingman, which is almost identical to the Sidekick, except it has a pair of scissors instead of a saw blade. The saw blade's on this side. So it has a pair of scissors, much like the Surge, we'll see in a minute, instead of a saw blade. And it has a tool called a package opener. And I believe that the Wingman may also have an awl, but I'm not 100% sure. My least favorite thing about the Sidekick is this lanyard tube. I don't see a reason for it. If you use it, let me know. But I think it's just a filler. My second favorite, my second least favorite thing about the Sidekick has got to be this, like, what's that, a 1-inch ruler? Maybe a 1.5-inch ruler. Maybe I don't know. Like, I haven't found myself in a situation where I needed a 1-inch ruler. I mean, at this point, like calipers or micrometers or something like that, I feel like would come in a lot more handy than having a 1-inch ruler around. Obviously, you're not going to stick a pair of calipers or a micrometer on a multi-tool. It'd be kind of cool if you could. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the Sidekick. Moving on to the Surge, you will notice that the weight difference is quite incredible. The Surge comes in at a hefty 12.3 ounces. And if you're used to using something like a Wave, a Sidekick, a Wingman, you're probably used to using something that's about 6.7 ounces. Now, the weight really doesn't hinder me, but at the same time, it is a big chunky boy to be trying to fiddle around with and figure out, especially if you only have one hand to do it with. The fit and finish on the Surge is not bad, but it is nowhere near as gracious, and it doesn't offer as much finesse as the Sidekick. They're not in the same category. This is more of a rustic industrial type of finish, and I can appreciate that, but it does have more hot spots. To note, this tool here is one of those tools that you can change out with any like T-clamp type of tool. It's very easy to operate, and I've got the file in there right now. When it's closed, that can be a hot spot. I think after a little bit of time, it's worn down a little bit. You can actually get access to the file in this portion. This area right here is a little sharp. Other than that, man, it's not that big of a deal. It's just it's not. These aren't like disservice points. It's just it is what it is, right? From the closed position, you have access to 4 different tools. You have your dedicated knife. On the other side, you have a dedicated knife. It is a liner lock, just like on the Sidekick. This knife is quite a bit bigger than the one on the Sidekick, with a cutting edge of 3 inches. So you may run into a situation where this might not be legal for you to carry. Check with your city ordinances, your local laws. On this side, you have the pair of scissors. These scissors are actually maybe one of my favorite features of the knife, just knowing that you have them. But they're not made to cut extremely thick things like paracord and stuff like that. This is pretty much for paper or cardstock, something like that. They are liner lock as well. On the other side, you have a dedicated saw, or a serrated knife. Rather, really, it's a serrated knife. It's sharp. It's got me a couple times. I can attest to its sharpness. And on this side, which we've already showed you, is where the file is. Or you can change that out for a saw. Or you can buy your own tools, like straight from like Lowe's or Harbor Freight or something like that, and use them in there. Now we take a look at the pliers. The pliers are needle nose and regular lockjaw type pliers with wire cutters that are replaceable. So if those start to get bent out of shape or start to get worn, you can buy Leatherman's proprietary, whatever. You can buy replacement parts from them. Proprietary. I was having difficulty with that word for a second. Sorry about that. From within, you have access to an awl. You have access to a pry bar or a large flathead screwdriver. You have access to a small flathead screwdriver on this side. And on the other side, you have access to the can opener and a screwdriver, or this is like a, this is really is like a, you can put whatever you want to in there. Leatherman does sell a proprietary set for like $40. I do think it's worth it. There's a Phillips head in there right now. I think they sell it with the flathead in there, which is crazy, because like you just got a few too many flatheads on this thing as it is. So I don't understand why. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can flip it over. That's not a big deal. But like, why so many flatheads? And that might be one of my least favorite things about the Surge. But one of my favorite things about the Surge is this tool and every other tool from the internal is lockable. Like, so if you're using the tool, in order to be able to put it back up in its spot, you press down on this lever and you can close the tool back. Well, you could. There we go. The Surge also comes with a marked ruler. I'm not sure how much of that'll pick up on camera, but it's 9 inches. The 8-inch mark is right here. 1-inch marks down here. So you have 8 inches, or about 21 centimeters. Which is kind of cool. It's kind of handy. Like you want to measure your PM2 or whatever. I mean, like, anyway. One of the safety devices of the Surge is while the rest of the tools are open, or you're not going to be able to have access to the knives on the inside. The scissors come out, didn't it? The knives aren't coming out though, maybe because it's harder to cut yourself with scissors. But this file, again, the file will come out, but the scissors, the knives will not come out. And again, I'm not really sure exactly how many tools they say the Surge is. I want to say they say it's 21. Giving a credit to those pliers, it's like being, I don't know, maybe like 4 tools. And like this file here is going to be like 3 tools because of the different grains you got, or the different grits you got. So you got a metal side and a wood side, and you got some stuff on the sides. I don't base them like that. When I'm looking at the different pieces that you get again. So you got 4 knives, or you got 4 external tools, which would be this, the serrated knife, the plain edge knife, the scissors, and the file. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And the ruler would make 11. That's my world. I do appreciate things are interchangeable. And I think, I appreciate the fact that each tool has different functions, but it's one tool, in my opinion. That's just me. So, I do believe that both of these tools actually do have a lot of value. I do use them both. I don't use them every day. I don't come in situations where I have to every day, but whenever I do need one, I appreciate the fact that they're around. Do consider the weight differences between these two different tools if you happen to be looking at either one of them. And you may want to take into consideration about the spring-assisted versus the D-assisted. Most people, I do believe, prefer the D-assisted, and I only prefer the assisted in certain applications. Anyway, I like them both. If you have any questions, you have any comments, you got another Leatherman that you prefer more, like the Wave or the Charge, those are probably the most, Leatherman has quite a few popular models. These are probably amongst the least popular, but that's why I own them. And that's why I'm using them. So anyway, I like them both. I do feel like the Charge would probably be like my ideal instead of the surge or even a wave over a sidekick, even a wingman over the sidekick. But both of these tools are actually very functional. So I'm happy to oblige. I was asked to do a video, and there it is. I was waiting for a proper time, and I feel like there's probably no better time than now. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, if you enjoy the video, please subscribe, leave comments, all that good stuff, man. We'll catch you on the flip side.